Hello children, in the previous class we have learnt about microorganisms, how they are useful in food industry and beverage industry, that is in the manufacture of alcohol, wine, beer, etc. Now today we are going to learn about medicinal uses of microorganisms, where we have already discussed about antibiotics, how were they obtained. Antibiotics are the medicines obtained from the microorganisms to kill the or stop the growth of disease causing microorganisms. Nowadays, different kinds of antibiotics are available in the market. These antibiotics are generally obtained from fungi and bacteria. So, how they were obtained and who was the person beyond the discovery of antibiotics were already discussed. The person, the great personality is none other than Alexander Fleming, who was experimenting with bacterial culture, and he observed that a kind of fungus stopped the growth of bacteria. From there, the first antibiotic called as penicillin was obtained from the fungus called as Penicillium notatum. Today, we are going to discuss about vaccine, how was it discovered, and what is the role of or what are the functions of microorganisms in making of vaccines and how they are useful to us. So you can see the picture given in this slide is Edward Jenner. He was the person who observed that if suppose a person lives among the microorganisms, suppose we can see in this story beyond the invention or discovery of vaccine is, he has observed that people working with cows, they were never affected with cowpox. Generally, cow will be affected with cowpox, which is a viral disease. But the people, that milkmaids and that women who were working among the cows never got affected with cowpox, because that germs, that virus, even it entered to their body, the body got some resistance to fight against that virus. So in that way, that people were not affected with the cowpox disease. So from there he got an idea and he tested that with a boy. He injected the cowpox virus into a boy's body, but the boy did not get infected by virus. From there they have got an idea that a small amount of virus of any disease, if it is injected into a living body, that living body will get some resistance to fight with the disease causing germs in future. I will explain again. Suppose a particular disease like that of, let us take an example of tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, it is a disease caused by a bacteria. That particular bacteria which causes tuberculosis disease, if it is injected into our body, the disease causing germs are not in active form. They are in weak form or dead form. That germs are not in active form. They are in weak form or dead form. That that germs or that virus are injected into our body. That time that virus enters into our body and WBC, that is white blood cells, will produce some other kind of substance called as antibodies by fighting with that germs, and that antibodies remain in our body for longer period of time. So this vaccine is nothing but a kind of medicine. That medicine is containing that germs or that particular disease causing germs in weak form or dead form. So our body will get some resistance or power to fight with that germs in future because of the formation of antibodies. So you can see here antibiotics are different, antibodies are different. Antibodies are formed when a person is vaccinated. Vaccinated means it is a process where the person will be getting vaccine for a particular disease. Vaccines for different diseases are different because different diseases are caused by different microorganisms, different pathogens. What are pathogens? Disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. So you can see here the vaccination is given. So vaccination is nothing but it's a process of getting vaccine. So here it is given in the slide. When a disease carrying microbe enters our body, the body produces antibodies to fight the invader. Invader means the germs which are invading our body. The body also remembers how to fight the microbe if it enters again. Because of presence of what? Because of presence of antibodies. So if dead or weakened microbes are introduced into healthy body, the body will fight and kill them by producing suitable antibodies. So antibodies remain in our body for longer period and we will not be affected with that particular pathogens in future. In that way, vaccines work in our body. So there are many diseases for which vaccination is given, such as cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox, hepatitis, etc. So when you are small, you have been also given vaccination for certain diseases which are free of cost given by government in government hospitals. Now some of the private hospitals are even giving certain vaccines for some other diseases like hepatitis A, hepatitis B and chicken pox. Certain diseases vaccines are not given free of cost. We have to pay and get them. So in that way, you can say polio, pulse polio program you have come across many times. You must have also taken. So where vaccine can be given oral. Oral means through mouth, just a drops. That is oral pulse polio. Some diseases vaccines are given by injecting into our bloodstream. So in that way, vaccines can be given through mouth or through bloodstream. So infants are given vaccination. Infants means small children, babies. And these days vaccines are made on large scale from microorganisms to protect humans and other animals from several diseases. So vaccines are nothing but they are obtained from microorganisms only to give resistance to our body. And because of vaccination only our body gets immunization. The power to fight against a particular disease is called in biology immunity. IMMUNITY, immunity. And the process of getting immunity is called immunization. So vaccination gives immunization. Vaccination is process of getting vaccine, and because of vaccine we get immunity, and that process we can also call it as our body is immunized. Our body gets some power, resistance, immunity to fight with that particular kind of disease causing germs in future because of the presence of antibodies. Is it clear, children? So we will learn about the next how microorganisms are helping in increasing our soil fertility. You know many of the microorganisms like nitrogen fixing bacteria, blue-green algae, they will convert the atmospheric nitrogen into soluble nitrates and put it in the soil. Thereby they help in increasing the soil fertility. That kind of process in biology we call nitrogen fixation. The fixing of atmospheric nitrogen into the soil in solid forms of nitrates or nitrites. This process is called nitrogen fixation, and that is done by certain kind of bacteria called as nitrogen fixing bacteria, and another kind of algae are there called as blue-green algae. They are microorganisms. So they help in increasing the fertility of the soil. At that time these microorganisms, bacteria and blue-green algae are called biological nitrogen fixers. Which are they? Nitrogen fixing bacteria and blue-green algae are called biological nitrogen fixers. They are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen which is in gaseous form, converting it into solid form, soluble solid form, and putting it in the soil. So that's why they are called nitrogen fixers. When you are growing leguminous plants, at that time you need not to give any fertilizer or manure. Naturally the soil gets replenished with nitrogen or nitrates. Clear? So, in that way, the fertility of soil can increase when you grow leguminous plants. Leguminous plants means most of the pulses, because the roots contain root nodules. And root nodules is the place where the nitrogen fixing bacteria will reside. So when it is residing there, it is living there, it helps the plant by supplying nitrogen. It is like a symbiotic relationship we learnt in our previous class. Similarly, blue-green algae found in water helps in fixing the atmospheric nitrogen into the water also. So thereby the plants growing in water also get nitrogen. Clear, children? So fertility of soil can increase by the growth of nitrogen fixers. So they have given some activity in your book. You can go through that. They've taken two, yes. So you can see here. You can read this. Take 2 pots, fill each pot half with soil, mark them A and B, put plant waste in pot A, and things like polythene bags, empty glass bottles, broken plastic toys in pot B. Put the pots aside, observe them after 3 to 4 weeks. Do you find any difference in the contents of the 2 pots? If so, what is the difference? You know, the organic waste like that of plant waste, animal waste in pot A will be easily decomposed, and that will get mixed with soil, whereas the waste like that of plastics, polythene bags, glass bottles, they remain in the soil without any much change. So from this activity what we can understand that microorganisms help in decomposing the waste, dead decaying matter, that is the matter or waste obtained from plants and animals will be easily decomposed, easily broken down, easily degraded by the action of microorganisms like bacteria and fungus. That's why these microorganisms are also called decomposers. They help in conversion of organic waste into manure or compost. So thereby the fertility in the soil also will increase. So microorganisms are useful to us. We have learned up to here, children. Today I will wind up, and in the next class we will learn how microorganisms are harmful to us. Thank you, children. Have a nice day. Okay.